Somebody shout, enough is enough. Oh, I feel this thing right now because in 2025, we are not wasting time explaining ourselves to people who were never meant to go where God is taking us. We are not crying over bridges that were meant to be burned. We are not begging people to respect what God has placed inside of us. No, no, no. This year, we are moving in silence. We are cutting off the weight. We are letting God be our defender while we keep walking into destiny. Touch your neighbor and say, cut them off. Because let me tell you something, reacting keeps you in the drama, but silence moves you into destiny. Let me give you 5 key points that will change the way you deal with people in 2025. Silence is strategy, not weakness. Oh, I feel something shifting right here. Somebody needs to hear this today because the enemy has been trying to bait you into battles that don't even belong to you. He's been whispering lies, stirring up conflicts, throwing distractions in your path just to get a reaction out of you. But let me tell you something. You don't have to react. You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to prove anything to anybody because silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. Oh, I wish somebody would catch this. You see, when Jesus stood before Pilate, the Bible says he opened not his mouth. They accused him, they mocked him, they lied on him, but he didn't react. Why? Because he understood that his destiny was bigger than their discussion. Some of you have been wasting your energy trying to explain yourself to people who were never meant to understand you. You've been going back and forth with folks who are committed to misunderstanding you. You've been fighting battles that don't even require your sword. But God sent me here to tell you, stop talking and keep walking. Because the moment you stop reacting, you take away the enemy's power. Oh, I feel this. The enemy survives off your reaction. He feeds off your anger, your frustration, your need to explain. But when you refuse to engage, when you hold your peace, when you let your silence speak louder than your words, the enemy is left powerless. Somebody shout, I won't react. And let me tell you something. Silence is not retreat. Silence is not surrender. Silence is positioning. Sometimes God will tell you to shut your mouth because he's about to show out on your behalf. Who am I talking to right now? You've been trying to fight for yourself, but God said, I will fight for you. Just be still. You've been trying to prove your worth, but God said, let me handle it. See, the problem is we think our words will fix it. We think our explanations will change people's minds, but the truth is your silence will speak louder than anything you could ever say. Because when you hold your peace, when you stop engaging, when you stop reacting, your absence will say everything that your words never could. And some of you are about to shock the world in 2025, not by what you say, but by what you don't say. Oh my God. You're about to walk away from arguments without a response. You're about to ignore negativity without a reaction. You're about to let your peace speak louder than their pettiness. Because when you know who you are, you don't have to prove anything to anybody. Who am I talking to? Somebody lift your hands and say, I'm moving in silence. Elevation requires separation. Oh, I feel this thing stirring in my spirit. Somebody in this room, somebody watching right now needs to hear this word because you have been trying to hold on to people, places, and things that were never meant to go where God is taking you. You have been dragging dead weight, carrying burdens, clinging to relationships, friendships, and connections that have already served their season. But hear me today. Elevation requires separation. I feel a shift right here. You see, you cannot go higher while still being weighed down. You cannot step into your destiny while still being tied to your history. Some of you are struggling because you are trying to take people into a place that God only designed for you. Look at your neighbor and say, everybody can't go, because listen, when God is calling you up, sometimes he has to strip some things away. Oh, I know it hurts. I know it feels like you're losing something. I know it feels like rejection, like betrayal, like abandonment. But could it be, oh my God, could it be that they didn't leave you, but God pulled them away? Could it be that their absence is actually your deliverance? Could it be that you've been crying over what God is cutting off? Look at Abraham. God told him, leave your father's house, leave your country, leave everything familiar, and go to a land I will show you. But what did Abraham do? He took Lot with him. And as long as Lot was in the picture, there was confusion, there was conflict, there was chaos. It wasn't until Lot was removed that Abraham could see clearly. Some of you have a lot in your life, somebody who is connected to you but not assigned to you, somebody you love but God never told you to bring them, somebody who is attached to your past but not aligned with your future. And hear me, the higher you go, the smaller your circle becomes. Oh my God, look at an airplane when it takes off. It carries a full load, but the higher it goes, the more weight it releases. Why? Because some things can't handle high altitudes. Some of you are trying to fly with people who can't breathe at your level. They are gasping for air, struggling to survive because they were never built for the heights God is taking you to. Who am I talking to? Somebody shout, I got to let them go. Because watch this. When Jesus was getting ready to perform miracles, he would clear the room. He would send the doubters out. He would separate himself from the unbelief. And some of you are waiting for a miracle, waiting for God to move, but you've got too many doubters in your space. Too many people who don't believe in your vision. Too many voices trying to pull you back when God is pushing you forward. But God told me to tell you, this is your season of separation. This is your season to walk away from what is no longer serving you. This is your season to let go of what is holding you back, because you cannot elevate while still holding on to what is pulling you down. When you stop feeding the fire, it dies. Oh, I feel this thing right here. Somebody needs to catch this in their spirit, because you have been exhausting yourself, pouring out your energy, fighting unnecessary battles, responding to every critic, reacting to every lie. But God said, stop feeding the fire. Oh my God. Some of you don't even realize that the enemy doesn't have power on his own. He only has the power that you give him. He only has the fire that you fuel. And as long as you keep responding, as long as you keep defending yourself, as long as you keep going back and forth with people who never had your best interest at heart, the fire keeps burning. But when you stop feeding it, oh my God, when you stop responding, when you stop explaining, when you stop giving it attention, the fire has no choice but to burn out. Somebody shout, I'm starving the fire. Look at Nehemiah. Ooh, this is good. Nehemiah was building the wall, fulfilling his assignment, focused on what God had placed in his hands. But here comes Sanballat and Tobiah, running their mouths, spreading rumors, trying to pull him down into drama. But Nehemiah said, I am doing a great work and I cannot come down. Oh my God, somebody needs to hear this today. You are doing a great work and you cannot come down. You cannot come down to argue. You cannot come down to explain yourself. You cannot come down to defend yourself to people who already made up their minds about you. Because here's the truth. Some people don't want to understand you. They just want to drain you. They want to pull you into a never-ending cycle of explaining, proving, justifying, reacting. But the moment you stop responding, the moment you refuse to engage, the moment you let your silence be your strength, the fire will die. Somebody say, let it die. And let me tell you something. The enemy is an instigator. Oh, I feel this. He will use people. He will use situations. He will use your emotions just to keep the fire burning. But you have to recognize when the enemy is baiting you. See, the devil doesn't know your future, but he does know your patterns. He knows what buttons to push. He knows what triggers you. He knows how to get you caught up in cycles that keep you distracted from destiny. But the moment you say no more, I'm not reacting, I'm not feeding into it, I'm not giving it life, the enemy loses his grip. Oh my God. The Bible says, resist the devil and he will flee. You don't have to fight him. Just stop feeding him. You don't have to prove yourself. Just stop engaging. You don't have to explain anything. Just let your silence speak, because the fire only burns as long as it has fuel. The moment you cut off the supply, oh my God, the moment you refuse to react, the moment you let God be your defender, the moment you let your peace speak louder than your words, the fire has no choice but to die out. Not every loss is a loss. Some are lessons. Oh, I feel this thing deep in my spirit. Somebody needs to hear this right now. You've been crying. You've been grieving. You've been asking, why, God? Why did I have to go through this? Why did they leave? Why did I lose that job? Why did that opportunity fall through? But let me tell you something. Not every loss is a loss. Oh my God, some things didn't break you. They built you. Some things didn't take you out, they took you up. Who am I talking to? Somebody say it wasn't a loss, it was a lesson. Because let me tell you something, when God starts removing things, it's not rejection, it's redirection. When God starts stripping things away, it's not subtraction, it's preparation. When people walk away, when doors close, when plans fall apart, sometimes it's not the devil, it's God making room. Oh, look, whoa, we feel this thing right here. You thought you lost a friend, but you gained your peace. You thought you lost a relationship, but you gained clarity. You thought you lost an opportunity, but what if I told you God was protecting you? What if I told you that the very thing you were crying over was something God was trying to rescue you from? See, we don't always understand it in the moment, because when we lose something, when something we wanted so badly doesn't work out, it hurts. Oh, it hurts. It shakes us. It breaks us. It makes us question everything. But God is saying what you thought was a loss was actually a lesson. Somebody shout, teach me, Lord. Oh, because when you start seeing your losses as lessons, you stop being bitter and you start getting better. When you start realizing that every disappointment carries divine direction, you stop complaining and start saying, Lord, what are you trying to show me? Because hear me, God never allows a loss without a lesson attached to it. Look at Job. Oh my God, Job lost everything. He lost his wealth, he lost his health, he lost his children, he lost his friends, and everybody around him said, Job, just curse God and die. But Job understood something. The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And because he didn't let his loss make him bitter, God gave him double for his trouble. Oh, I feel like somebody is about to step into double. Somebody is about to receive restoration. Somebody is about to see why they had to go through what they went through. Because let me tell you something. The things you thought you lost, you didn't lose them. You outgrew them. Oh my God. That relationship didn't end because you weren't good enough. It ended because you outgrew it. That job didn't fall through because you weren't qualified. It fell through because God had something greater. Who am I talking to? Somebody say it was a lesson, not a loss. Because when you stop looking at what you lost and start focusing on what you learned, you realize that nothing in your life was wasted. Not the heartbreak, not the betrayal, not the closed doors, not the delays. It was all working together for your good. Oh, I feel like running right now. Because if you could see what God was setting you up for, if you could see the blessing that's about to hit your life, if you could see how God is about to restore, replenish, and renew everything you thought you lost, you would stop crying over what left and start praising God for what's coming. Somebody throw your hands up and shout, it wasn't a loss, it was a lesson. Your future deserves your focus. Oh my God, somebody needs to hear this today. You have been distracted, you have been delayed, you have been drained, but not anymore, because God sent me to tell you that in 2025, your future deserves your focus. Oh, I feel this thing. You've been looking back, crying over what was, reminiscing about what could have been. You've been giving too much energy to yesterday while God is trying to push you into tomorrow. But hear me, you cannot step into your destiny while still entertaining your history. Who am I talking to? Somebody shout, I've got to move forward. Because listen, the enemy is after your focus. Oh my God, he knows he can't take your purpose. He can't steal your destiny. He can't cancel what God has already ordained. So what does he do? He distracts you. He sends drama. He sends distractions. He sends people who don't mean you well. He keeps you busy fighting battles that don't even belong to you. But this year, somebody say, I'm too focused for foolishness. Because let me tell you something. Whatever has your focus has your future. Oh, my God. If your focus is on negativity, your future will reflect negativity. If your focus is on what they said about you, your future will be stuck in what they think instead of what God said. If your focus is on the past, you will keep repeating cycles instead of breaking them. Look at Lot's wife. God was trying to pull her into a new season, a fresh start, a destiny beyond her imagination. But what did she do? She looked back. And in that moment, she turned into a pillar of salt, frozen in place, stuck in the past, unable to move forward. Oh my God, how many of us are stuck because we refuse to let go? Stuck in relationships that are no longer serving us, stuck in memories that no longer define us, stuck in pain that no longer fits us. But God said, I need you to move. I need you to shift. I need you to focus on what's ahead of you, not what's behind you. Somebody say, my future is calling me. And let me tell you something. Where God is taking you, you can't afford to be distracted. Oh, you can't afford to entertain negativity. You can't afford to waste energy explaining yourself to people who never wanted to understand you in the first place. Look at Jesus. Oh, I feel this. When Jesus was on his way to the cross, people mocked him, people accused him, people spat on him, but he never lost focus. Why? Because he knew his assignment was greater than their opinions. And some of you need to hear this. Stop giving your attention to things that do not align with your assignment. Stop chasing closure. Stop explaining your calling. Stop responding to nonsense. Because your future is too important to be sacrificed on the altar of distraction. Oh my God. Somebody needs to get this in their spirit. Your destiny is too big. Your calling is too great. Your purpose is too strong for you to be wasting time on things that are not building you, blessing you, or breaking you into the next level of your life. Somebody lift your hands and say, I'm locking in. I'm focused. My future is waiting on me.